Welcome to Inside British Royals. This is your exclusive look inside the world's most famous family. We are exploring the scandals, secrets, and power plays that define the modern monarchy. If you are new here, please do well to hit that subscribe button for more updates. He was a Falklands War hero, the Queen's reported favorite son, the Duke of York, born into a life of immense privilege and sworn duty. For decades, he lived a gilded life inside palace walls, a life the public only saw in glimpses, at parades, on balconies, and at state functions. But that gilded life masked a very different one, lived in private. A shadow loomed, cast by the prince's toxic friendship with the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Today, that shadow has all but consumed him. Stripped of his public duties, his military honors, and the right to be called His Royal Highness, Prince Andrew is a man in exile. Yet, according to royal experts, he reportedly feels wronged. The victim of a campaign he believes is deeply unfair. Royal expert Andrew Loney stated that the former Duke of York still thinks he's anointed, that it's deeply unfair people have turned on him. But as the world reels from the details of his association with Epstein, the question isn't just what he did, but how a man born at the heart of the British monarchy could become so catastrophically disconnected from reality. This is the story of how a prince's profound sense of entitlement led to his own spectacular downfall. The unfair present. Today, Prince Andrew lives in a state of royal limbo. While he remains the Duke of York by title and is still eighth in line to the throne, his life as a public figure is over. He undertakes no official duties. His treasured military affiliations were returned to the Queen, and the charities that once clamored for his patronage have long since fallen silent. His banishment isn't just symbolic, it's tangible. A bitter, years-long dispute has raged with his brother, King Charles, over his continued residence at Royal Lodge, the 30-room mansion he has leased from the Crown Estate since 2003. The king has reportedly made it clear he wants Andrew to downsize, a move befitting his non-working royal status, but Andrew has resisted, reportedly clinging to the lease document that he believes entitles him to stay. This battle over property is a mirror for his larger predicament, a man clinging to the trappings of a life he's no longer entitled to live. He has been excluded from key family events, his presence a painful embarrassment the monarchy can ill afford. And yet, amid this comprehensive public and private rejection, the narrative that emerges from those who claim to understand his mindset is one of defiant bewilderment. Royal commentators have repeatedly used one word to describe him: arrogant. Former BBC royal correspondent Jenny Bond noted, "He is an arrogant, self-assured man, but even he must be feeling the heat." Another source close to the palace described him as deluded, recalling an instance where he allegedly defended his position by shouting, "But I'm the Queen's second son, you can't do this to me." It's this reported sense of victimhood, this belief that the world has turned on him unfairly, that seems to unlock the series of decisions that led him to this point. To understand his present, we have to go back to the friendship that started it all. The story of Andrew's downfall is inextricably linked to two names: Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. He was reportedly introduced to the couple in 1999 by Maxwell herself, the daughter of disgraced tycoon Robert Maxwell and Epstein's closest associate. What followed was a years-long friendship that saw the Queen's son socializing in high-profile circles with a man who was secretly running a vast sex trafficking operation. Epstein was a guest at Windsor Castle and Sandringham House, a proximity to the crown that lent the American financier a veneer of legitimacy he desperately craved. The first tremors of the earthquake to come were felt in 2008, when Epstein was convicted in Florida for procuring a minor for prostitution. For most public figures, this would have been an immediate, non-negotiable end to any association. But not for Andrew. In December 2010, after Epstein's release from a disgracefully lenient prison sentence, the prince flew to New York and was photographed strolling with him in Central Park. It was a stunning act of misjudgment, a public declaration of loyalty to a convicted sex offender that baffled observers and horrified palace officials. At the time, Andrew was serving as the UK's Special Representative for International Trade and Investment, a prestigious role that he was forced to resign from in 2011 as criticism over the friendship became impossible to ignore. The scandal exploded in 2014 when Virginia Giuffre alleged in court documents that she had been sex trafficked by Epstein and Maxwell and forced to have sex with Prince Andrew on 3 separate occasions, beginning when she was just 17 years old. The locations she named were London, New York, and Epstein's private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Andrew has consistently and strenuously denied these allegations from the very beginning. But the claims, combined with a now infamous photograph showing Andrew with his arm around a 17-year-old Giuffre, with Ghislaine Maxwell smiling in the background, refused to disappear. For 5 years, the palace maintained a wall of silence, hoping the storm would pass. It didn't. Instead, it gathered force, until, in November 2019, this chilling lack of regret was compounded by a series of bizarre and utterly implausible denials. To counter Giuffre's detailed claim of dancing with him at a London nightclub, where she described him as sweating profusely, Andrew offered a peculiar medical defense. "There's a slight problem with the sweating because I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat or I didn't sweat at the time," he claimed. To rebut the allegation that he had sex with Giuffre at Ghislaine Maxwell's London home on March 10, 2001, he constructed an alibi so mundane it became an instant object of global ridicule. He claimed he had been at home with his daughters because he had taken his daughter, Princess Beatrice, to a birthday party at a Pizza Express in Woking. The interview was a masterclass in self-sabotage. Journalist Catherine Mayer captured the public mood, saying he was too stupid to even pretend concern for Epstein's victims. The man who went on television to end speculation had instead become its central exhibit. He had handed the public, on a silver platter, every reason to turn against him. The backlash was immediate and brutal. The interview, intended to silence his critics, had instead amplified their voices into a deafening roar. In the days that followed, charities and organizations he represented severed ties in a mass exodus. Major companies like KPMG pulled their sponsorship of his flagship pitch at Palace Initiative. Faced with an unprecedented crisis, the monarchy acted. Just 4 days after the broadcast, it was announced that Andrew would step back from all public duties. The Queen later stripped him of his honorary military titles and royal patronages, and he was forced to stop using the style His Royal Highness in any official capacity. It was a public humiliation of the highest order. The legal jeopardy also intensified. In August 2021, Virginia Giuffre filed a civil lawsuit against him in New York. Andrew's legal team tried, and failed, to have the case dismissed. Finally, in February 2022, facing the prospect of a public trial and a sworn deposition, Andrew settled. While the exact sum was undisclosed, reports suggest the figure was as high as £12 million, a payment made without any admission of liability. For many, the settlement was a tacit admission of guilt. For Andrew, it was a way to make the problem disappear while still maintaining his innocence. He has never been charged with a crime and has always denied any wrongdoing. This brings us back to the central mystery. Why does he reportedly feel so unfairly treated? The answer seems to lie in a personality forged by a lifetime of deference and privilege. Royal biographer Andrew Loney describes a man who has been pampered all his life, living in this bubble. Status is everything to him. It's his only sense of identity. Another royal expert, Ken Worf, who served as a protection officer for Princess Diana, described Andrew as one of the most arrogant people he had ever met. This kind of behavior has led some observers to suggest that a person with such a deep sense of entitlement might genuinely believe that whatever they do will be okay. This mindset helps explain the disastrous Newsnight interview. He didn't see a need to express remorse because, in his mind, he had done nothing wrong. He didn't see the need for a plausible alibi because he believed his word, the word of a prince, should be enough. He believed the public would simply accept his account, and when they didn't, it wasn't his own catastrophic performance he blamed, but the public for failing to believe him. The unfair campaign he perceives is, in reality, a direct consequence of the character he revealed to the world on that fateful night. He wasn't the victim of a media ambush. He was the author of his own demise. The story of Prince Andrew raises profound questions about privilege, justice, and the role of a modern monarchy. What are your thoughts on his reported sense of unfairness? Do you think the fallout he has faced amounts to true accountability? Let us know in the comments below. And if you're interested in more deep dives into complex royal stories, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. The story of Prince Andrew is a modern tragedy of royal hubris. A prince, born second in line to the throne and celebrated as a war hero, cultivated a toxic friendship that would lead to his ruin. When given the ultimate chance to salvage his reputation, he instead exposed a profound lack of empathy and a disconnect from reality that shocked the world. While he may privately feel that he is the victim of a cruel and unfair public turning, the evidence laid bare in this timeline suggests otherwise. The outrage wasn't arbitrary. It was a direct reaction to his choices, his associations, and above all, his own words. The public didn't simply turn on him. He gave them every reason to walk away. His life is now a shadow of what it once was, a cautionary tale whispered in the halls of Buckingham Palace. But as he lives out his days in gilded exile, locked in disputes over his palatial home, the larger question lingers, far beyond the palace gates. In a saga that has exposed the darkest corners of wealth and power, has justice for the myriad victims of Jeffrey Epstein truly been served? And what does the spectacular fall of the Queen's favorite son mean for the future and the very survival of the institution he was born to represent?